Brother Evan on the didgeridoo. Yeah. Brother Kevin on the brand new funky electric shaker rate. Yeah. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Much more to come. We got Legalize It today. Thank you so much. We'll be back. Yeah. We'll be back more.
What's up, everybody? Hey! Yeah. What's up, everybody? Much better, much better. This is really, really important. You need to make a whole lot of fucking noise today. Like I really need you to do that. Let's practice it really quickly. First of all, I'm going to introduce myself. Anyone that I introduce on this stage today, you are to lose your goddamn mind. You need to lose all sense of sanity. I don't care who it is. Now, I'm going to introduce myself. I go by the name of Hypnotic. I am an MC, a host, sometimes activist, a philosopher, all-around jerk-off. You clap for jerk-off. I said that because you are. Now, I'm going to do somebody when I introduce them. That's what I'm saying. Come to the stage, somebody that I've known a long time and all my life. He's an amazing artist. He's really sexy. He's black. He's bald. He's coming up. Hit me. Thank you for me. Thank you. So what we're gonna do, we got an amazing show, an amazing rally with amazing people, and somebody who be amazing. I'll leave you in a minute. It's awesome. Anyone with a story over here? What I need you to do, what? The first thing I want you to do is clap, right? So bring up more. Now make noise. Make noise. Yes. I'm going to introduce our first speaker really quickly. Now, this lady is a member of the Law Enforcement Against Prohibition and a retired NYPD police lieutenant. Also a member of the New York Police Department for over 20 years. She worked in Narcotics Bureau making undercover street-level buys for 3 years. As an attorney, she witnessed the drug war from the defendant side, representing indigent defendants for the Legal Aid Society in Manhattan. And I really want you to lose your mind for Miss Joanne Norton. Yeah!
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here to speak to you today about our marijuana policy. I am a retired member of the NYPD, where I was a cop, I was a detective, I was a sergeant, and I was a lieutenant. I retired after over 20 years. As a detective, back in the 1970s, I worked undercover in the narcotics division. I went out on the streets of the Bronx and Manhattan, and I bought drugs from street dealers. And my backup teams eventually arrested those dealers. And we did this as good soldiers in the war on drugs. I made hundreds of buys, and my backup teams arrested every one of those sellers. I believed in this country's drug policy, and I believed I was doing the right thing when I had to wage war on drugs.
How could you?
But I'm now willing to admit, after looking at the evidence, that I was wrong.
Yeah, you were wrong. Yeah. Takes a big woman to admit it.
Prohibition has been an utter failure.
That's right.
I'm also an attorney. I represented criminal defendants in Manhattan with the Legal Aid Society. Many of my clients were young people who either possessed or sold marijuana. Nothing violent, and they were facing years of incarceration along with a lifetime felony record. So my experience with our drug policy is firsthand. I know what's going on. Just before I retired from teaching, one of my criminal justice students told me about law enforcement against prohibition, LEAP. It's an organization founded by 5 former police officers to give voice to law enforcers who believe war on drugs is not only a dismal failure, but a self-perpetuating, constantly expanding policy disaster. By that time, I'd come to the realization on my own that the law enforcement approach to drugs hadn't gotten rid of drugs in this country, and in fact made things worse. Today, drugs are cheaper, more potent, and far easier for kids to access than they were when I was buying them decades ago. This is the essence of a failed public policy.
Yeah. What about that?
In 12 years of LEAP's existence, we've grown to represent more than 100,000 people, including police, judges, prosecutors, prison officials, DEA officials, FBI officers, and just plain folks who know that to save lives, to lower rates of disease, crime, and addiction, as well as to conserve tax dollars, we have to end drug prohibition. For controlling drug abuse in our society, we believe a system of legalized regulation is more ethical and efficient than prohibition. And we know that nothing can be regulated, controlled, or studied while it is illegal. So for well over 40 years, we've been fighting a war on drugs in this country with ever harsher policies. And to do so, we've spent $1.5 trillion of our tax policies. During that time, we've arrested more than 46 million people for non-violent drug violations. Nearly half of these people were incarcerated for marijuana.
Freedom.
Having an arrest record is a life-altering situation. It's going to affect somebody's social status, the ability to find employment, to enjoy a career or a profession, secure housing, and it will certainly increase stress in the family. A drug arrest can destroy a college student's opportunity to receive financial aid and to get food stamps. I was in Washington this week in order to support legislation that is co-sponsored by Senator Kruger and Assemblymember People-Stokes that will legalize, regulate, and tax marijuana.
Woo!
Let your legislators know, if this passes, it will eliminate 60% of the profits that go to drug cartels.
That's right. Yeah.
Call your legislators, let them know in Albany that you want this legislation passed.
Keep it going. on for Joanne Norton, please. Yeah, like, I don't want this lazy applause. And don't make me tell you again. Now see here. Anybody say that to you before? Now see here. So what? Shut up. Now, what I want to do right now is really an honor. Really quickly, I want to bring up somebody that is important to me because he's responsible for one of 3 magazines that would be under my mattress when I was a kid. You had Hustler. Actually, they all started with H. You had Hustler. You had Take It Easy. Don't step on the moment. You had Hustler. You had Heavy Metal. Because I like the cartoons with the boobies and the dragons. And you had High Times. You know. So this brother that I want to bring to the stage, I have enough love for him for that alone. He's the associate publisher of High Times magazine, as well as a founding member of Normal. And what I want you to do is make your noise on a level that is far beyond any that I have heard so far. For Rick Cusick, please.
Thank you! New York City! I said New York City! Fuck yeah! This is where the shit happens. This is Union Square, man. Union Square is where they protested 150 years ago. This is where they had the riots. This is where they changed the law then, and this is when they changed the law now. Union Square today! 2014, I'll be the first to say what needs to be said today. 5 words: legalize weed and free Dana Beal. Legalize weed and free Dana Beal. Who's Dana Beal? You're going to hear a lot about Dana Beal today, I guarantee you. I'll leave it up to other people, but I'm going to tell you about legalizing weed. For 40 years, High Times has published every month without fail. Every month, 40 years, legalize weed, legalize weed. Last week, I spent 420 in Denver, Colorado. I smoked a legal joint in Denver, Colorado. I've been smoking weed for 42 years. I thought I was gonna die before I could smoke a legal joint. Now I gotta smoke a legal joint in my hometown of New York City. You're gonna do it? Are you gonna do it? I'm gonna tell you how you're gonna do it. I'm gonna tell you. Here's a little bit of information you do not know. We have never, ever been closer to medical marijuana in New York State than right now. When I say right now, I mean we could have medical marijuana in New York State by June. Within 60 days. There is a medical marijuana bill. Went to the Senate. They do what they always do. They send it back. We just made changes. We sent it to them. We got the votes. We don't know what's going to get in the way. We got 5 or 6 weeks to get to a vote. At the New York State Senate. How are you going to legalize weed? When you leave here today, you're going to call the office on Monday of your New York State Senator and say, give me medical marijuana. Do it Monday. Do it Monday. Go online, find out who your state senator is, call their office, send them an email, and say, please vote for medical marijuana. That's step number 1. Step number 5 is legalizing weed about 2 years from now. And that's how we're going to do it. We used to say, oh, it's about medical, it's not about legalization. No, it's about legalization, dude.
Hey, Laura. There is real need for medical in this world. And nobody knows that better than Dana Beal.
That's right.
The man you're going to hear about. There has been a tradition of medical marijuana in New York City under the radar for 25 years.
Yeah.
And now we are this close to bringing it above the radar.
All right.
Don't drop this ball. Everybody thinks High Times Magazine is from San Francisco or the West Coast. New York, baby! We got started in 1974. New York City, #1 pot dealer in New York. Put his weed money into making a magazine. 40 years later, we're legalizing weed. It all started in New York. It's going to end in New York. And this is the beginning of the end. My name is Rick Cusick. I'm the publisher of High Times. I'll be back later. Remember these 5 words. Legalize weed and free Dana Beal.
Yeah, keep on Rick Cusick really quickly. Word up. Word up. And you keep this fucking energy going. You keep this energy going. I'll get in that crowd. I'll get in that crowd and I swear I'll shake hands. Coming to the stage is another speaker, very important speaker. Really want to hear your energy for him. And I also, really quickly, I want to say, people are going to give you instructions about how to get involved. Don't just go, oh, yeah, man. Like, really do some of these things, man, and we can do something.
Go say hi
So,
to Tracy.
the gentleman I'm going to bring to the stage, it's so crazy. He joined the movement in the dark days of the late 80s and started a chapter of Normal at NYU. Oh, yeah, NYU? Is that? Okay. So, and this is like the 80s now. It's getting like the 80s again. So we needed to like really prevent that. In 1994, he co-founded Cure Is Not Worse, a coalition to stop the drug war and promote the annual global marijuana marches with Dana Beal and Noah Porter. He's currently the legislative director and a member of the board of directors of Empire State Normal, the New York chapter of National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws. He's also an advisory member of the New York City Bar Association Special Committee on Drugs and the Law, and credentialed alcoholism and substance abuse counselor trainee, and an advocate for the use of ibogaine in substance abuse treatment. Without further ado, please bring to the stage with proper love and affection, Doug Green.
Oh, the Wi-Fi?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Thank you all for spending your Saturday afternoon with us. And there is no day like today to get involved with our movement to change the racist, unscientific, and unjust drug laws. As Rick and other people have been telling you, the most immediate issue before us here in New York is medical
He had a
cannabis.
huge breakfast,
Every
too.
state in the Northeast has a medical cannabis program. In New Jersey, they've got 3 dispensaries. In Connecticut, they've licensed 6 dispensaries that haven't opened yet. You have to go as far as Pennsylvania to find a state that does not have a medical marijuana program other than New York.
Leave him alone.
Here in New York, we spent 17 years. It's been 17 years since Assemblyman Gottfried from the Upper West Side introduced a medical cannabis bill. And the good news is that we're closer than we've ever been before to getting a bill through the legislature and getting it to Governor Cuomo's desk. But the problem is that the state Senate has never even held a hearing on medical cannabis, and we only have about 6.5 weeks. The legislative session ends on June 19th, and then they go out to campaign for re-election. So we need all of you to contact your state senators and let them know that we need to bring Compassionate Care Act to a floor vote. Is there anyone here from Long Island, especially Nassau County? People from Long Island, great. Okay. There's 2 senators, Senator Kemp Hannon, who's from Garden City, who's the chair of the Health Committee, and Senator Dean Skillos from Rockville Center. He's the co-leader of the Senate, and these are the 2 senators who are most in control of whether or not the Compassionate Care Act is going to get a floor vote this year. So we need you to get your friends, your co-workers, your family, everyone you know, to contact their state senator and let them know that the Compassionate Care Act needs to get to a floor vote. Our parent organization, National Normal, has action alerts on our website, so you can contact your legislators about the Compassionate Care Act and other federal and state bills related to cannabis reform. If you can, it'd be even better if you could call your legislator's office, set up an in-person meeting, go meet them at their district office. And Empire State Normal is also part of the Compassionate Care New York Coalition, which is going to have trips up to Albany every week through the end of session. And as you probably know, cannabis is now legal in Colorado and Washington State. This November, Alaska is going to be voting on it, and possibly Oregon and the District of Columbia too. And last December, I was privileged to be at a press conference on the steps of City Hall. State Senator Liz Krueger from Midtown and the Upper East Side introduced a bill called the Marijuana Regulation and Taxation Act. Allow New Yorkers 18 and older to possess up to 2 ounces of cannabis, not 1 ounce like in Washington State and Colorado, actually 2 ounces, and cultivate up to 6 plants. And if you're over 21, you could go to a retail store and get up to 2 ounces. It's a great bill that we helped shape, but it's going to take a long time before we get this bill passed. There's a poll that just came out last month that showed 43%, a little bit low, significant minority, but not a majority, 43% of New Yorkers right now in favor of taxing and regulating cannabis. But finally, at last, we have a tax and regulate bill that we can advocate for up in Albany. I also wanted to mention 2 guys I met on the 3 train up and down on Thursday night. I gave my last card for this event to them. Hopefully they're here. Kwame was wearing a Rolling Stone t-shirt, so I knew he was the man I needed to give my card to. These are 2 young black men from uptown who consume cannabis, and these are the people who are the most likely targets of New York's cannabis arrest crusade. Last year we had about 30,000 people who were arrested in New York City for cannabis possession, and so far this year about another 6,350. We need to get the de Blasio administration to make cannabis arrest the lowest law enforcement priority. I see my time here has come to an end. Once again, I'm Doug Green from Empire State Normal. We have a table at the back. We have the contact information for the legislative leaders you need to contact. Don't make today just the day you came out here to listen to speakers and maybe smoke some weed, listen to Redman and other great acts. Make it a day to get involved with our movement, because the people who organize this event and me, we're doing this like every day. Without pay, actually, to change the laws. So please get involved, stay involved, come sign up, and I'd love to talk to you more about these issues. Thank you. Back to you, Hypnotic.
Thank you very much, Doug. Keep it going for him. You keep the applause and the insanity going until people leave the stage. Then they feel sexy, they go and shake hands and kiss babies, and it's awesome.
And they smoke.
Now, what I want to do is bring up our first musical guest. Woo! Yeah, woo for music! Yeah! Thank you, brother. Thank you. Got you. You know, you hook everybody in your area, they teach somebody over there, one teaches them, and it works